Hi guys, so today I want to talk about this trade right here. It's a 1 to 3.4 hour trade for me. I actually took it off around here, and basically I wanted to target this high. Initially it was at this high, but yeah, it ended up being way too late for me, so I just ended up closing it here manually. So it is not exactly following my rules, but the reason why I closed was because I'm on futures, and I don't want to leave the position running overnight, so I had to manually close it. But yeah, it's at a good point near that high. I didn't take it off exactly at that high. It ended up retracing a little bit, so I just ended up closing it there. But let's just go really in depth into this trade, and I'll talk about how I got my drawn liquidity and all that. So starting on a daily, so we have this weekly fair value gap right here, which is the bearish one, and we've been inside it for a while. But basically on the daily, what I saw was that overall we're still in an uptrend. We took out this low, but we didn't end up closing below it, and we've been slowly going up since. On the most recent days, we've got this fair value gap right here, and this is that yesterday's candle. Today is already Wednesday, but yesterday during the trade we actually was that candle tapping into that daily fair value gap right there. You see that is one of my drawn liquidities right there, the previous day high, and that as well, that high right there, because that high, and then we started retracing into that daily fair value gap, and then now we're taking out that high. So moving down to the 4 hour, we see that is actually a really logical target for us. And so on the 4 hour, we see that as well. We are starting to continue to be bullish, because previously we had this bearish fair value gap right here and we started going down. But the reason why I became bullish was because we actually closed above this high, so we created this market structure shift. So in this range right here, we started retracing into that daily fair value gap right here. So again, like everything you can see, it lines up. And Tuesday yesterday was a day where I actually went into the day having a really clear bias. I went to the day, saw that we have these two highs right here that wants to be taken out, so that's my target. So my plan going to the day, just from seeing the daily and the 4 hour, is that we want to retrace somewhere into this range and go up. So on the 4 hour, we have this mini fair value gap right here that we ended up going down into, and we also have this SMT right here. So on the 4 hour, we also have like a small fair value gap, but that's not really my main confluence. It's more of that daily fair value gap, and also a 1 hour order block that I'll show you guys later. But on the 4 hour, we see that, you know, it's at a good point where price can likely reverse and to go up. So price and time, remember. On the 1 hour, we see that we have this consolidation range right here, which is literally like a market maker buy model. So we have consolidation slowly going down, another consolidation here before we manipulate down, and we have this one. I have this 1 hour order block marked out right here that we ended up tapping into during that 9:30 manipulation. So on the 1 hour, that's pretty much all. I just need to mark out that 1 hour fair value gap, but pretty much from then on, I saw that 1 hour fair value gap. I saw that this is like a really clear market maker buy model starting. We see that we have these, you know, consolidation and coming down SMT. I want to go down to the 1 minute to look for a confirmation to go up during that time. So now that we have price at the right place, I want to look for time. We see this is that 9:30 start. So 9:30 we manipulate down into that 1 hour order block. So it went straight in and literally reversed right at that order block, and we also created small SMT right there. After that, I wait for a 1 minute SMT, 1 minute fair value gap. So after that, we pushed up, and then we created this small fair value gap right here. And honestly, I could have waited for it to come down to tap into that fair value gap, but sometimes it doesn't. So I just ended up entering here at this candle close once the fair value gap has been created, and I had my stops below this fair value gap, below this inverse, sorry. So after this fair value gap was created, we also basically just inversed this 1 minute fair value gap. So that's where I entered. And I do have to admit though that the entry could have been better, like maybe somewhere here, because not because of the risk to reward, but just because, well, yeah, kind of because of the risk to reward, but also just because, like, in terms of like patience. But I also know that in these times, sometimes it just doesn't really return back into the fair value gap. So as long as it's a 1 to 3 risk to reward, I'm still okay with that. So that's my entry there. Alternatively, wait, let me just talk about the standard deviation first, then we'll start talking about another entry that we could have had. So yeah, if we go to that 1 minute, if we go to this leg right here, this manipulation leg down, and you use the standard deviation tool from 0 to 1, we also see that this -2 and this -2.5 perfectly lines up with these two levels. So that's also why it was just really obvious for me that this trade was a good setup. But when I went to this trade, I just had that mindset of like, if it doesn't work out, then that's fine for me. But so another thing that I wanted to talk about was that an alternative or a more safer entry that we could have had was that this down candle right here, after we close here at 9:55, we close above this candle, we have this change in the state of delivery, closing above that. And then after this at 10, okay, so after that change in state of delivery at 10, we actually did have a fair value gap, so that could have been a better entry as well. So we have this change in a state of delivery here after 9:55 close, and then at 10 we have this news come out that basically went into this fair value gap. So yeah, if we see, we have this very small fair value gap right here, so we can have news come out here at 10 and then just stops below maybe that inverse right there, and then you can still target the same thing all the way at the high. So yesterday was definitely one of those times where it was a really good day. It was very good price action because we also had red folder news, but it's not like CPI or anything, so it's still okay to hold through. Yeah, definitely if it was something where I can be able to monitor the trades, I would have been able to sort of have partials here and maybe partials there. Just a quick recap, we have our higher time frame being the daily and the 1 hour order block. We have SMT and basically a liquidity sweep as well. We have our timing being right, and we have our draw on liquidity being these two because internal range, external range. And then we also have our market maker buy model here, and you see that here we have buy side of the curve, you know, tapping into higher time frame, SMT, buy side of the curve, and then yeah, just very clear targets all around. So that's pretty much it for this trade recap. Let me know if you guys have learned something from it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.